Yo, it's MartydudeVR, and today we're talking about upcoming PSVR2 games that I think you guys want to know about. So there's a lot of games from PSVR2, and honestly, if anybody says in the next few months that PSVR2 is dead, you're insane. I mean, from Metro to a bunch of different other releases that have been announced and some that are going to pop up randomly, we have a lot to play on the PSVR2 platform, and we're going to talk about it today. But before we get into the list, I do want to say make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell because a lot of you guys do not do it. And so please help the channel out, trying to get to this 5K, and you can help me get there. But with all that being said, let's get into our upcoming PSVR2 games. Our first game on our list is one that I'm still shocked even exists, and it is Metro Awakening, coming on November 5th for PSVR2. I am still shocked this game exists, and it looks amazing. Like, they're so confident on these VR ports, they're putting out whole minutes and minutes of gameplay, and I just can't help to be excited. As somebody that's played a lot of bad PSVR2 ports, this one right here definitely has my highest confidence out of probably all these on this list. Vertigo Games is coming out swinging, and I am here for it. Me personally, I've loved the Metro series for years, and I can't wait to put my hands on this because there's a lot of things in the Metro games that will be terrifying to see in VR. And I've always felt that Metro was just one of those series that was just meant to be a VR game. I mean, you never really see your character, it's always first person. It's just a perfect representation of a flat to VR port, and I'm glad somebody saw the potential. With that being said, we don't actually play as Artyom in this game, play as a doctor named Sindar. So Sindar is the main character for this Metro game, so I'm actually very interested to see how they build him up versus, Artyom. So shout out Artyom, that's my guy. That's my guy. But with all that being said, let's move on to our next game. Our second game is one of probably the best zombie VR games of all time, and it is Arizona Sunshine Remake, coming out on October 17th to PSVR2. Now, this game has a really special place in my heart because it's one of the first VR games I've actually played. If you've been around on PC VR for a long time, or really any VR platform, Arizona Sunshine is one of those games that you kind of have to play if you're into zombie shooters. Now, the game coming out next week is an actual remake of the first game with co-op, and it honestly looks amazing. Now, I will be reviewing this game, but I got a PC VR key instead of a PSVR key, so I'm gonna do a PC VR review of it, but I'll make sure I buy it on PSVR2 just to give y'all, a look on if it's actually optimizing. Now, Arizona Sunshine 2 came out pretty optimized last year, so I have full faith in them doing it again this year. But if you've never played Arizona Sunshine and you want to get into the series, this is literally the perfect time to do it, because if you're on PSVR2, the second game is already on the system, so you just get the first game, get the second game, and then boom, you can play the whole series. But this remake is full of upgrades, from graphics to melee combat, new weapons, so go play Arizona Sunshine next week. Our third game is Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate, which is coming out on Halloween. Quick disclaimer, guys, the Wanderer team actually just put out a statement saying that this game has been indefinitely delayed, so yikes. Wanderer is probably one of the best puzzle games I've ever played, like hands down. It was an amazing experience when it first came out a few years ago, and I'm glad they're doing a remake because that game really deserves it. It's definitely one of those situations where you can tell a small team built the first game, but now they got like a AA or maybe even a AAA budget to do the second game. And just to clarify, when I say second game, I mean the second iteration of the first game. But Wanderer is essentially a time traveling puzzle game, and conceptually is pretty amazing, but the execution is really astonishing how they do it. Like, there's parts of the game where you got to go to the moon, to World War II. Like, it's just a bunch of different stuff you can do in the game, and I can't wait to see how they flesh it out in that new remake. Honestly, if I would say one of those PSVR2 guys on PC, I would say go back and play the original Wanderer because it still holds up and it's still a really fun game. But we gotta move on. Our fourth game is Starship Troopers, which is coming out on October 31st, aka Halloween. Now, this had the funniest reveal trailer that I've ever seen for a PSVR2 game because it looked rough. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. And hopefully it's not rough when it comes out, because I do want PSVR2 to get, good ports of games. And I gotta be frank, there's a lot of competition around that date. So this is a intense roguelike shooter, which was kind of surprising because I was kind of hoping for more of like a Helldivers type experience with Starship Troopers, because we don't have that in VR. But obviously as you progress, you're gonna collect resources to upgrade your characters, get perks, all that good stuff. Hopefully the execution is good and the graphics actually hold up on the PSVR 2, because from what I saw on that trailer, it looked a little rough. So hopefully we just got a bad trailer and this game actually looks great on release, because I'm actually looking forward to it. Now, we did see some screenshots of the PC version of the game we can suspect, but like I said before, you know, we just gotta pray about it. But Starship Troopers Continuum on October 31st. Our next game is ExoCars, which is coming out in November with no specified date, but I am happy this game has wheel support. So this is a kind of like rally arcadey racing game, and we need something like that for just VR in general, and definitely on PSVR 2. Because as of right now, the only racing sim we have on PSVR 2 is really Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is pretty high up there, but I wouldn't really consider it arcadey, and I do like having just something generally arcadey and fun for like a VR sim. You know, like respect to all the people who like, you know, simulated racing and stuff like that, but I want to like jump over like rivers and mountains and stuff with like a car. That's just me though. But I am glad they confirmed the wheel support, because people were going crazy about that in the PSVR subreddit, which is kind of surprising, because I'm like, I didn't really care if it was with a wheel or not, but you know, it is what it is. And I have a wheel, so you know, I didn't really see all the hoopla, but I can understand from people who, you know, are really serious about sim racing and whatnot. But if the execution for this game was actually on point, this could potentially be one of the best arcade racers in VR that we ever seen. So hopefully Joyway really does good on execution for this launch, because I do want to see just more stuff like this in VR. And this can definitely be the first step to like a long line of games, especially since it's hitting all platforms, and you need all platforms to survive with a lot of these games. Our sixth game is probably one of my most anticipated VR games of this year, and it is Behemoth. Now, it's coming out on December 5th. Towards the end of the year, it got pushed back because originally it was coming out next month, but got pushed back for optimization and stuff, which I am not mad. Take your time. But this game is essentially Shadow of the Colossus, but put it in VR and put it in PSVR 2, which makes it even better. Now, I've been a long time fan of Shadow of the Colossus, even back from like early PS3 days. Like, I love that game because it blew me away the first time I played it. And as a longtime VR guy, I've always wanted an experience like that in VR. And from what we've seen in the gameplay trailers and stuff like that, the combat looks nice. You get a grappling hook, and you actually can see the enemies get sliced in half and just decapitations, and it's really good physics when it comes of combat. That's probably one of the most impressive things to me about the game, and graphically looks really amazing. Now, I am hoping to see some more PSVR 2 gameplay closer to launch for you guys, but for me, this is one of those games I probably get on PSVR 2 and PC just to, you know, compare. But I will say, VR game of the year is going to be a really tough competition. Our seventh game is one that I'm shocked we even got, and it's been speculated for a long time. It is Alien Rogue Incursion, coming out on December 19th. So really close to Christmas, but I'm excited for this one because I know it's not going to be like Alien Isolation, which is kind of like the biggest thing people were worried about when it first got revealed. Like, oh, is it arcadey, you know, XYZ? It is confirmed a narrative. So it's a narrative story. We're seeing some gameplay, and honestly, I'm excited to see how they make the aliens look terrifying. Now, I don't want an Alien Isolation personally, because I mean, that's pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. But I do want kind of like something in the middle. I don't mind a little arcadey, but give me a good scare every once in a while. Like, show me some face huggers and all that stuff. Graphically, it does have a really cool art style. I'm hoping that it holds up on the PSVR 2, because we haven't seen a lot of gameplay, and the first stuff we see was kind of a little shaky. So, but I'm looking to see more gameplay trailers as it get closer to release, because we got like 2 months, so they got time. But if you're an Alien fan, you watched the last movie, yeah, this right here is definitely one of those games that you need to play when it comes out. All right, guys, it's time to talk about our sponsor, VRRock.com. VRRock is where I get all my prescription lenses for all my VR headsets, and especially my PSVR 2. You shouldn't have to pay more for something that you can't control. So go to VRRock.com, get some prescription lenses, tell them MartydudeVR sent you, use code MartydudeVR to get 10% off. Help me help you save some money. All right, guys, moving on to the rest of the games in our list, and every game I'm about to talk about past this point in the video is a game that has no specific release date. It's just been announced. But we do know it's coming out in 2024. at some point. Our 8th game is probably one of the best multiplayer horror games of all time, and it definitely deserves that title for how far it's come over the years. It is Phasmophobia. So I'm speculating that this game is coming out on October 31st, but we're gonna see because the devs seem to have a hard time getting the console ports ready. So I'm holding my breath, but I am excited to play this because I think the PSVR2 guys and just the general console people are gonna love this game, man. If you don't know what Phasmophobia is, it's basically a ghost hunting simulator where you gotta go into random locations, whether it be a haunted house, a hospital, an asylum, and you basically have to see what type of ghost is haunting that area, and you have a bunch of different tools and gadgets and friends, if you choose to do so, to help you figure out what it is. Now, the ghost can kill you, and I've died a lot of times in the game, so be careful. But overall, Phasmophobia is a very unique experience that you don't get with a lot of different games. If you're planning on playing this at some point, whether it be with or without VR, make sure you do it because it's just an experience. I played it on PC already. I've been playing it since probably about 2020, 2021, and I'm just so excited to see you guys play this because a lot of you guys are going to be so scared and I need to see that. But moving on. Our 9th game is one that I am still surprised it hasn't come out yet for PSVR 2, but it is Ghost of Tabor. Ghost of Tabor is basically VR Tarkov, and you know what Tarkov is? Basically, you go to an area, you infiltrate it, you get loot, you can take down enemies, there's certain quests you can do, and you have to extract. Now, the extracting is the hard part, where you got to extract with all your loot, but other people trying to kill you. Now, the dope thing is you can go in with a squad, you can go in by yourself. It's all up to you. But Ghost of Tabor is probably one of the most popular VR games of the past few years. It's really hard, guys, for a VR game to pop off to the main audience like Ghost of Tabor has done. And honestly, shout out to the devs because, like I said, it is really hard. A lot of these VR games do not make it. A lot of the VR studios that were around probably 4 years ago aren't around now. And so the fact that Ghost of Tabor has gotten so popular, especially with such a niche type of game, is honestly a spectacle. And the Ghost of Tabor team is really cool. They have my full support. And I can't wait to see the PSVR 2 launch because I genuinely believe a lot of you guys are gonna fall in love with this game and never put it down. Our 10th game on our list is Frenzies. Frenzies comes from one of my favorite VR studios, InDreams. InDreams has pretty much made a chaotic PvP shooter with a bunch of different game modes. And it's funny because all the characters are dressed in these onesies and they're like psychopaths. It's really fun and a really interesting premise and a really nice art style. A lot of you guys have probably played Synapse, which is one of like the original PSVR 2 games that kind of blew up. And the gunplay from that game kind of transfers into this game, but honestly, they made it a lot better. I got to play test it just a little bit, and it honestly was an experience. Right now, there is a playtest going on the Quest platform, but obviously this is a PSVR 2 video, so we got to wait for a full announcement. But I am excited for you guys to play this because it's really a gem, and PSVR 2 kind of does need more multiplayer shooters that people can kind of, you know, socialize on and have fun. Our last game, which is definitely not least, is Aces of Thunder. I have been waiting on this game for a long time. No confirmed announcement date, but we do know it's coming by the end of 2024. Aces of Thunder is pretty much a flight sim with World War II shooters, and it looks really amazing. We've seen a little bit of gameplay from the game, but I can't wait to see this fully realized because I've always wanted a reason to get a hold of this, and I think this is definitely gonna be one of those games that pretty much get me to get one. Now, the developers have said there's dozens of World War II era planes, so if you're a fan of, you know, those type of, you know, machines, then boom, you got a fun game on the way. And I do feel like PSVR 2 needs a fully fledged flight sim because, I mean, the ones we have, Ultra Wings is good. Ultra Wings actually is pretty good, but I do want some more realistic, a little bit more semi for this flight experience. Now, Project Wingman was cool, but they only gave us like a few maps. I was pretty disappointed with that. But I do think Aces of Thunder is gonna live up to the hype and be a really fun game for PSVR 2. All right, guys, that is it for the video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure your notification bell for more content from your boy. We have a lot to look forward to, guys. And like I said before, if you say PSVR 2 is dead or anything like that, you're insane because there's games coming and games you need to play. Make sure to support these developers, guys, because making a VR game takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money. With that being said, it's been MartydudeVR, and remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.